Your voice. Ever wanted to shout at the top of your voice out of frustration? Well, I could never do that. I would scream internally and feel as if my voice would cause me to explode into smittens, but unfortunately, no such thing happened. My name is Lee Jones, and I'm a mute. I have been mute all my life. That means that my life is not the same as everyone else's. My mother tried her hardest to make sure that my life was a little easier. She made sure that I went to a good school, that I could take care of all my needs. She never faltered in her love for me. With her love, I never yearned for the father I never knew. The source of my rigors was how people treated me. They would gossip about me as if I could not hear them. Kids outside of school would not play with me because they thought I was a freak. Their words struck the deepest part of my heart. I tried to keep my head up and smile, but inside, I was dying. To make matters worse, I was gay. Everyone knew about it because I had once had a boyfriend. We had been broken up for a while, though. It is funny how people act as if they have no problem with gay people when they are the first to make fun of them when they are out of earshot. My tormentors were not that kind, though. I would have to deal with insults every day. When I finished school, I stayed at home and never came out. My mental health was deteriorating. I did not love myself anymore. I had trouble liking myself since I was a kid. When I saw the other kids being able to speak, and I was struggling to even utter a vowel, a little chip of my soul wasted away. Things got worse as I got older. I would feel as if I was not normal, that I was a burden to my mother. I attempted to end it all 4 times before I was 18. My mother was constantly worried. I could see it in her eyes. I hated that. I was the reason why she was so worried, but I could not do anything to change. I was looking through a glass, determined to stop feeling what I was feeling, but I found an escape in video games. For those hours, I would forget everything that was happening in my life, and enjoy feeling like I was in control for once. People that I played games with actually liked me. I made friends that I could talk to for hours, and that made me feel less alone. I hated feeling alone, with nothing but these thoughts in my head. So my life was monotonous in a way. I was stagnant, but I also felt lonely. My previous boyfriend had turned out to not be as honest as I thought he was. I had taken a huge knock after that. The chances of me finding love were slim anyways. I did not go out. I could not talk. I was depressed. Even Tinder could not help me. All I needed was someone that would make me feel like it was worth it for me to remain in this world. That my words mattered even if I could not utter them. I know I sound sloppy, but that is just how I am. Really sensitive. A lot of things were killing me day by day, but I soldiered on. Who knows why I did. Then, I met him. I had run out of energy drinks, and I really needed one. My mom was at work, and she would not be going to shopping till the weekend. So that meant I had to go to the shop and buy it for myself. I put on a dark hoodie and made my way out of our apartment. I avoided eye contact with anyone. It was something that I did whenever I walked. Just felt awkward walking in public. I went to the back of the store where the energy drinks were, and I took 3 for myself. I hated going to the shop, so I bought my stuff in large quantities to avoid human interaction. Sue me. As I was in the line for checking out, someone cut in front of me. It was this other guy who I grew up with. My stomach clenched in dread. How I hated him. He had been one of my chief tormentors. You would think that he had changed 3 years after high school. You know what they say about old dogs. I looked away. Just then, he turned around and saw me. The look on his face was that of a lion who is ready to pounce on his prey. I did not need this, of all things. I wish that I had stayed at home and had coffee instead of going to the store. Sorry, did I cut in front of you? He said. I was taken aback. Why was he being so nice? I nodded. You could have said something, he snorted. I just shrugged. Yeah, pity you can't talk. Are you supposed to be in some special needs school? He said, laughing. I had grown numb to his insults, so I looked away. Yo, dude, what you're doing isn't cool, a voice said from behind. It's none of your business, Mark, the bully said. I don't care. What is wrong with you? You cut in front of this guy and then still have the audacity to insult him? The voice behind me said. I turned around and saw a guy with long hair. His eyes were lit up in anger, and he was glaring at Mark, who was behind me. I was shocked. I registered a lot of things at that moment. First of all, that the guy had a lot of piercings and looked really scary. The other was that the guy was standing up for me. No one had ever done that. Most people did not get involved when I got picked on. He looked badass. It was surreal, just looking at him. I said that you're being annoying, he growled suddenly. I heard someone scurrying away. I turned around to see the shop's door slammed shut. Mark was gone. He had been scared off by this beautiful yet scary looking man. The same man who was speaking to me right now, but I had no idea what he was saying because my mind was preoccupied. He was gorgeous, with deep gray eyes, long dark hair, and all black. He was scary yet mesmerizing. I wonder why he helped me. I could not even say thank you to him, so I mouthed it. "No problem, dude," he smiled. I turned around to get my stuff ringed up. I wanted to speak to him and ask him why he had done that for me, but I had no idea how to talk to him. The chances that he knew sign language were few, and I had also left my phone at home, so that meant I could not write anything for him. So I left the shop, mind reeling over the mystery man. I cursed my luck again. I wished that I'd been able to say just a word to him, but I had the worst luck in the world, so that was just wishful thinking. I went back home and got to work. Despite the gaming, I was also a computer programmer. I had been doing it since I left high school. I found that it was so easy for me to lose myself in scripts, markups, and tags. I left this earthly plane and found myself in a world where I created. I was a god, and no one could touch me. Not the people who judged me over something that I had no control over. I was just me. Later on, I had ordered some food for my mom and me. I could not cook to save my life, and my mom was having a busy night at the office, so she usually ate late. I ordered some spicy chicken, my favorite. When the delivery guy came, I opened the door to pay for my order. As he was giving me the change, someone walked behind him. It was the guy from the shop. He was at my apartment. Maybe this meant that he lived here, or he was visiting a friend. Once again, I let him go without talking to him. Yes, you have every right to be pulling your hair out in frustration. I had let another opportunity slip by, and promised myself that I would write a note to give to him the next time I saw him. I dug into my spicy chicken with no mercy. I was so hungry and it tasted so delicious. The next day, I was just finishing up on my work when I got a knock on the door. I opened it and saw the guy from yesterday. To be honest, I was super freaked out. I did not expect him of all people to be at my door. I remembered the note that I had for him. I left him standing there and fetched it from my jacket. He looked at me in a strange way, but he took it and read it. It said, "Hey, thanks for helping me out at the store. I am mute, thus I could not properly thank you." He looked up at me and signed hi. I was shaken. I did not expect him to know sign language. "You can sign?" I asked him. "Yes, a little bit, but I'm rusty. I just moved here. I know how it's like for people to pick on you. I get snide remarks every time because of how I look." "I could not let that guy just belittle you like that," he said. "Thank you," I signed to him. "I just wanted to know if you wanted to play Call of Duty. My friend who I invited over just bailed on me, and I wanted to know if you were available," he said. I figured that I would hang out with him. I did not have much to do anyways. I nodded and he grinned. I locked the door and followed after him. I do not usually do this, but I was drawn to him, to his electric energy. I wanted to see what he was all about. We entered his apartment and got to playing the game. He was actually really good at it, and it was hard to beat. We played for hours, having so much fun. After a while, we started talking. He signed a bit, but he was not perfect and had to supplement some of the words with speech. But that was okay. We talked about everything from our families to our interests, current affairs, and movies. He was just one of those people that you could talk to for hours and never get bored of. I had never had that before. A person in real life who was nice to me and treated me like a person? Unheard of. But here we are. I was fascinated by him, I'm not going to lie. He was a breath of fresh air. For the first time, I could talk to someone about my interest. He shared a lot of my interests as well. I did not want to leave. I wanted to talk to him for the whole day, till night fell. But he said that his shift at the local bar was starting soon, so our conversation was cut short. I went home glowing, unable to contain my happiness. The feeling you get after meeting someone that you get along with is like no other. You feel exhilarated, set alight. That was how he made me feel. He puzzled me. From the outside, he looked like a scary goth guy, but he was a very nice person, when you got to know him. When my mom came home, I told her all about him. Should have seen her face. She was so happy that I had made a friend in real life. I was glad that she was happy for once. She had been having one of the busiest weeks ever and was constantly stressed. I could not have her stressing about me as well. When she approved of my friendship with Kyrian, that was his name, I was so happy. I was walking on sunshine for the rest of the day. Kyrian and I hung out nearly every day. We clicked and soon we were as thick as thieves. His kindness was unlike anything I had ever experienced. I started to go out a lot more because of him. He loved experienced life and I wanted to see what he saw. And I was not disappointed. Feeling alive was one of the best things that could have happened to me. I had no idea that I was living a lie until I met him. We started to share secrets with each other as our friendship developed. I remember one night when it got so real. We had just had a few beers and we were chilling at his place. It was Friday night, but neither of us felt like going anywhere. So we had just decided to chill and drink with some beers at his place. "What's your secret?" I signed. "What do you mean?" he replied. "What is the one thing about you that no one knows?" I asked. "Know everything about me," he shrugged. "Not the secret to your happiness," I smirked. "What happiness?" he asked me. "You go through life as if it's one big adventure. You're not scared of anyone, yet you are the type of guy who helps old ladies with their groceries. How are you so wonderful?" I signed. "I'm not always happy. I just put on a front. I do not always feel like myself. I feel like I'm living in some other world. My life has no direction. Did not go to college. I was bullied for all of high school, and when most people look at me, they see trouble. All because of the leather jacket," he replied. His sign was getting much better now since we started to hang out. That is what I liked about him. He could have just spoken to me, but he tried his hardest to sign so that I would not feel as if we were on two different planets. I was saddened by what he revealed to me. He had always seemed so in control, happy, and out of this world. "I did not know that you were going through all that. You always seem so happy, like nothing bothers you. All the things you think are wrong with you are just a part of you, but they are not you. Your whole is how you want it to be. Remember when you told me that?" I said to him. He smiled. "Your whole is not defined by singular parts of you." Yes, I remember those words. But why won't you take your own advice? "What do you mean?" I asked him. "Well, you act like you do not like yourself sometimes." He looked down. "I don't," I sighed. "I tried, but accepting myself was something that I was years from achieving. I did not want this life. I wanted to sing, shout, speak, whisper, anything. I hated my broken voice box. You have so much of you that is to like. You are brilliant, smart, and funny, but no one knows that except me. You let idiots like Mark bully you. For how long will you let them make you feel that way?" He signed frantically. He messed up a few times, but I got what he wanted to say to me. I breathed deeply. "I do not know. I'm scared. I'm weak, pathetic," I signed. Looking down, I started to cry. I hated how I felt. I do not want to lie. I wish I could wake up one day and not loathe myself. Why a person like him was hanging out with me was beyond me. "Please don't cry. I'm sorry. I should not have pressurized you. But I wish that you saw what I see. I want you to let them hear your voice," he said. "I cannot speak," I said, rolling my eyes. He chuckled. "Speech is not the only way in which one can communicate." "What do you suggest that I do then?" I asked. "I do not know, my friend, but you are worth so much more than you tell yourself." Then he hugged me. I felt so safe, like nothing could touch me. It was at that moment that I realized that I had a crush on my best friend. I'd been trying to ignore all the signs since the beginning, but I had failed. I was very attracted to my friend who was not gay. Out of all the things to happen to me, this had to be the one to happen to me. Oh, treacherous heart, where did you lead me? I wanted so badly to stay in his embrace all night and not think about anything or anyone else. I could not, though. I would have to go home soon. Then I would have to face another day where I had to pine for him, where I had to suppress the urge to pull him in for a kiss, to have just a single taste of those pink, nearly red lips, to have those eyes gaze at me with such want and need. I pulled away from him really quickly. I was getting aroused. He looked at me in confusion. To be continued. Thanks for watching. Consider subscribing to become part of our Rainbow Force and stay wholesome.